beautiful Brent James. Welcome back to it, brother. Thanks for coming on today.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. Good to be here.
We were just talking about some of the original works and how, has it been nice to take off the pressure of the live shows and just to be able to write for your own person? Or has it been kind of the opposite? The less you're playing it, the less you sit down and write for you.
I write for myself every day. Every day there's just, I think it's, as very important to keep the muscle flexed, I guess, once you quit using the muscle. I know it's been said a million times before, but once you quit using the muscle, then it will go away and deteriorate. So I'm always so scared, like, oh man, if I'm not creative, that's going to go away. I mean, obviously there's some days where I don't, it's, some days there ain't nothing. Can we swear on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Let it fucking fly, bro.
Some days there ain't shit, and it's like you can tell from the moment that you wake up and, if you look at a guitar, you can, I don't know, there's nothing. And then there's other days where, you spend half the day in your writing space and either you're at a piano or got a guitar in your hand or sometimes just a drum beat, and you record that and you got, however the song derives, whatever you pull it from, but yeah, I try to do it as much as humanly possible when I feel like I truly have something to get off my chest or a story to tell or something that has inspired me.
Sometimes I like writing on the days, though, where I know that I have nothing and I have to eat the dud then. Because if I don't work on the muscle on the days that doesn't feel fun, then there's going to be no fun days at the end. It's like you got to be ready to engage with it and get your pile of bullshit out of the way.
I've had many of the nothings. I'm like, it's a waste of time. But yeah, I mean, it's not a waste of time. You're exactly right in that regard. And yeah, it's a weird thing. Songwriting is such an introspective thing. You're looking inside yourself so much, and it's just like, it's just, if you have any part of perfectionism in you, it's hard to look at garbage, but until you're at that point in your career, like before, when you're young, you're like, oh man, everything I write, like this is great. I actually did this, maybe a year ago. I found on my computer, some old songs that I wrote, when I was like in high school and my first band in high school. And I remember writing those songs and being like, man, these are great songs. This could be on the radio, whatever, you're so clouded by your own ego, in those moments, and you're in your first band, whatever. And then you listen back to them and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awful. Like we were truly just kids learning. But I mean, it's, it's like that Dave Grohl quote, like you have to suck. Just got to get in a garage or in a basement and just suck. And it is so true.
And there's something that's so fun about that too. Like one of my drummers brought this up the other day. It was his 35th birthday. And he's like, dude, most of my heroes had done the majority of their greatest work by 27, 28 years old. And I'm sitting here at 35 saying, like, when's it going to happen? And I think that's the greatest encouragement for kids at 17, 18, being like, dude, it's right around the corner. You got to take this now. But there's also a level of getting past that age and becoming more patient with it. Like, yes, that's true for the Police. Yes, that's going to be true for, like, most of your favorite bands. Most, like, weren't the Beatles done by 27?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a little upsetting to think about. But then I remember Harvest Moon and the amount of people that weren't counting on Neil Young to come out with a classic. And I think that stands at the peak of what he does. Like, I'm not the biggest Neil fan in general, but there's something about that song where it's like, it's as good as anything Sinatra ever did in my mind.
Oh, it's
or it's the same thing with Wildflowers.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just like, God.
Don't get me started about Tom Petty, man. I'll never stop. Yeah.
Is that your number one?
I would say he's definitely, I'd say, it's so hard. Songwriting-wise, like if somebody were like, hey, let's sit down and let's write a tune together, he's definitely up there. Him, just being from Michigan, Bob Seger, there's always this crazy, image that I've always had of Bob Seger, just because I'm from Michigan, and my dad told me the story when I was a kid of Bob Seger played my dad's high school Christmas dance in Bridgeport, Michigan.
Shut up.
Which is crazy. And my dad was like, yeah, he's like, nobody. It was at the point in his career where he was kind of just touring regionally, like, and doing Michigan, Indiana, and maybe Ohio and northern Michigan, and kind of doing those runs. Like, he hadn't ever done anything like the level that he obviously went on to do. But yeah, just the fact that he played a little gymnasium in Bridgeport, Michigan, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like,
Zeppelin played a St. X prom at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have no idea what year that was, but you hear these kind of things. It's like, it really does make humans out of rock stars, which are the greatest version of a deity. I mean, like, I don't need a book of what the gods did. Like, we got footage of most of this shit.
Do you know the so my parents have a place up in northern Michigan, near like Traverse City, Cadillac. It's in this little town called Lake City, Michigan. Check it out. Lake City, Michigan, represent. What up, what up?
So that's where you're from?
No, I'm from Frankenmuth, Michigan, like an hour and change north of Detroit.
You can live your whole life in Michigan and just get a little bit of it all, man. You have a weird amount of pride.
Definitely. But near Lake City, it's about maybe 15-minute drive. There's this small town called Cadillac, Michigan. And I have a lot of friends there, and I have a few friends that were older that actually were going to school when this happened, because they showed me their yearbooks. But somebody, a junior or a senior, wrote a letter to Kiss's management, which was Bill Aucoin, which I actually worked with, oddly enough, for a hot minute when I was living in New York.
That dude's earning his sainthood. Yeah. He's put up with a lot.
Yeah. And they wrote a letter to Kiss and sent it to Bill, and they were like, we really want Kiss to play our high school. I don't remember if it was their graduation or it was like, maybe it was a football thing. I think it might have been like a homecoming or something. Maybe I could be completely wrong on that, but regardless, Kiss ended up saying, yeah, sure. And they took a helicopter in to Cadillac High School, dropped down. You can see it if you go on YouTube and put it in. And dude, a helicopter drops down. It's like 1970 something, and they drop down in this chopper and they jump out, and Kiss is playing on the football field in little Cadillac, Michigan. I'm like, hey, see, it's a good lesson to be learned. Yeah, asking you shall receive, maybe.
I just opened up a show for Mini Kiss up in Cleveland. I gotta say, the hype still lives on. Yeah, even in like the most interesting corners of tribute bands, there's an epicness to what that legacy is that like you really just can't touch in other places.
No,
I was talking shit yesterday on Kiss about this, and I can feel it when you talk about Michigan, and it's one of the things I think we lack in Cincinnati that I scream at people about. It's like when you look at the local music scene, if you don't own it, if you don't wear it, then there's nothing to be had. But if someone started talking shit about the best songwriters, you would put Bob Seger in the mix. Not because it might be someone else's vote, but because you've worn the shirt long enough that it's like a football team. It's like, no, you're never going to get past that.
Yeah. Being in Michigan, there were just, it's like you growing up here in Cincinnati, right? Like being in Michigan, like obviously I have the story of my dad and the dance with Bob Seger, but in high school, we used to go out to this girl's, her house, and her parents were huge Bob Seger fans. And I just remember like, hanging out over there with my high school friends, and like, hearing Night Moves playing, it's just like, you just get so connected to certain artists, and they become something in your mind. And, I've had crazy moments of like being this close to meeting Bob Seger, but it hasn't happened. And I'm like, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that I haven't met him, like just because he's so huge in my head, But yeah, he's definitely up there. Tom Petty is definitely up there. Bob Dylan is, really the reason why I picked up a guitar.
Really?
Yeah, he's just one of my, one of just the storytelling and just the way that he approaches, like his cadences and the way that he sang, I thought was like really unique for the time.
What do you like about that cadence though? Because to me, it's like it feels less memorable because I have a harder time grasping it. It takes till the fifth listen to get something from it for me. versus Tom's an earworm off the bat?
Yeah, totally. I think for me, it probably comes from I love hip hop. I love rap music. I love it's like that was you know my first love when it came to music was that I was listening to stuff I should not have been listening to when I was a kid.
Was there an
type
album that
stuff.
really did it for you?
Gosh, oh my gosh, I listen to so much underground stupid stuff that like people be like, I never even heard of those guys.
But that's a very Michigan thing too,
Yeah,
where it's
like Das Effects, I was really into them. NWA, Too Short was really, 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 really huge with my buddy and I.
how old are you when you're really falling in love with this?
I was maybe like, gosh, I think of this and I think of my own kids now. I'm like, man, like I was listening to stuff that I definitely should not have been listening to. I was like second, third grade. Like I remember my older brother's buddy Todd Malika. Shout out to my dog Todd down in Miami. What up, boy? I would take, this is like such an old man story thing to say, but I would take my lunch money and I bought dubbed tapes from Todd. And it was like just these old Too Short, well, they weren't old, but it was like, Life is Too Short, Shorty the Pimp tapes.
In second or third grade?
Yeah, and I actually got in trouble because I was listening to them. I had a like a Discman or whatever, and I was listening to them we had like these on our playground when I was a kid. Like they had these like big, huge tunnels, I don't know,
like the
these
tubes you run
industrial,
through?
yeah,
Okay,
but they
yeah.
were like big, like concrete tunnels that they slapped down.
Super Michigan.
And yeah, I would sit, yeah, super
Industrial.
Michigan, yeah, it was very odd, very unsafe looking back. But yeah, like I would sit in there with my buddy and like I would crank it up and it would echo in this tunnel, so like you could feel the beat, like you could hear it, and there was like a little bit of an echo on it. You're like, oh shit, like it was just it was, I wish I could remember some of the lyrics. I know if it was playing right now, I sold tapes every day. Me and Freddie B, been famous since 1983. Give me $10. Can you straight give blast to get all about you? Call special request. Yeah, just like all that shit was just totally spoke to me. And I think that the reason why, like, just to tie this all back, is why, like, Bob Dylan is just because I think that there's an element of, he's obviously not the greatest singer to some people. To me, he is. Like, Johnny's in the basement, mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement, thinking about the government, trench coat, badge out, like, that's the same cadence that I loved, So, like, when I was making the switch up from like hip hop and rap music, it was like, all right, like where is like a natural progression? And I heard that tune's one of the first Dylan's tunes that I heard, and I was like, oh shit, who's this cat? And he's ripping a guitar too while he's doing this, like. So I was like, all right, I'm in with this cat. I've got to see what's up, And then, just from learning about him and the way that he wrote, and then you just kind of like. It's like the gateway. It's the gateway drug of music, like, oh shit, now I know Neil Young, I can get down with that, and then I went through a big Grateful Dead phase, I was always doing is wearing, tie-dye shit to school and, looked like the biggest stoner, even though I was not a stoner in high school. All my friends were. I was something it didn't work for me. But I was, I loved the Grateful Dead and just what they were about and just the
It's crazy to be on the inside of that without the cultural aspects of it, where it's like some of that music doesn't make sense to someone that's not in a tripping mindset. But if it does, it's access to it.
Yeah.
One thing I love about, I didn't really get into hip hop much at all in my life, but there was a couple of albums like Acid Rap and Coloring Book from Chance. It was one of the first times I felt like there's an accomplishment in learning to sing along to these lyrics. Like, it's difficult. If they put it in front of you, you couldn't just run it down. You have to spend time with the material. And when you watch concert footage of some of these bigger artists in the rap world, there is all these people that are wearing that accomplishment. They got their Boy Scout badge that says, I can run this down. And so getting through that, is similar to Bob, where the first time someone hears it, to actually be able to re-articulate those things, like not only is it fun to say, it's a challenge. It's like learning how to speed run on Mario.
Yeah.
And one day you learn it and you're like, oh, everyone's gonna see me do this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about Chili Pepper material?
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. It's, the Chili Peppers are crazy, man. Like, getting into some of that stuff is just like, holy cow, this is really challenging. This is really crazy music, you know, which I didn't really realize, you know, getting into that stuff. But
That was never
it's
really
like
a
you
band
said.
for you, right?
Yeah, I always, you know, like one of the, actually my first music video when I was watching MTV as a kid, my first music video memory was the Under the Bridge video. And I remember seeing Anthony Kiedis walking with his long hair, swaying, you know, walking and singing the way that he does, and be like, whoa, what's this? This is really cool. You know, it's my first video memory of a tune. Great songs. Like there's some really solid stuff. Like Snow is a very crazy tune. You know, that's really crazy. Chance the Rapper, though, I gotta give that one of the greatest lines ever. If one more label try to stop me, there's gonna be some dread. Bro, what is it? A lie beat.
But that song and then Sunday Candy always really did it for me. She can say in a voice, in a way that she love me. With a smile, with the ends, with the belt, with the money. I ain't the thesis of a payers and nieces and nephews. Just that whole song is so like, you know, to have the gospel bed, but then still to make these things, it's so much fun to be able to re-articulate it, to try to work the mouth for that muscle.
Totally.
And starting to get to know that. It's the same way that a kid feels the first time that they know how to hit like the right route on a football field.
Yeah.
Except you get to rock someone's world with that shit.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, I didn't grow up in an MTV world. I grew up in a VH1 Classics every morning when I'm watching, when I'm eating breakfast. So they're showing like best one-hit wonders of the 90s, of the 80s, or things like that. And one of the weirdest videos for me was Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved playing that song because it was all like the, I don't even know, like the domino-looking floor and the guy's heads popping out of a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself... when like Moment of Silence comes out, tell me that's the title track of the record, correct?
Yeah, of like the first, like real record that I did, I would say. You know, Moment was definitely that was the single. That was the one that everybody was, you know, and the industry was all, you know, this is the single.
They told you this is the one.
This is the one. Yeah.
Did you find yourself hyperfixating on those parts of the process? Or were you like, listen, the video is an aftermath thing of the song, and I'll let you put in some creative direction? Or were you the kind of person that the video kind of came with the song? It was a bit of a package deal, and you knew what you would want from it?
That video in particular, I think there's a couple videos out there. I'm not sure which one you're referring to, because there's one that is like where you know, my boy Scott Murphy, what up? He shot the video for that when we were just on the road, because he tour managed us, and we went out and did a lot of runs with him. So he would come out and kind of wear two hats, you know, like he'd bring his video camera and he just had that eye, you know. So we shot a live one for that, and then he did some other ones that are out there as well. I think there's one that he may have done for Gibson Guitars that is out there too, and I don't remember, but yeah, that song is. I love that song. That song, as I always joke, that song is the creative power of the shower. Because I came up with the chorus of that in the shower in Nashville at a hotel down in Franklin, Tennessee. It was like I was going into this session with Skid, and it was like it was the first. It was the very first. I think it was the first or second session that I had with him, and I found out day one of working with him that I was going to be a dad, which was crazy.
No. Do you find this out before the shower or after the shower?
This was literally like God strike me dead. This was me getting to Nashville and pulling into a parking spot at the hotel and parking, and my wife calls me and we're having a baby. And I was like, holy cow. And that day, I think that, or that next morning, we had our first one, but session or whatever. So it was weird. Like, my one buddy who helped me out for a while, he was always like, babies are good luck. Babies are good luck. Babies are good luck. This is great, you know? And I was in the shower and I came up with that hook, like right after I found that out. And I was like, oh, and it ended up being like the, you know, like kind of the flagship tune of that record, Moment of Silence.
That's an incredible place in your mind.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I don't have children yet, but I'd imagine that it's every emotion you could ever imagine in some kind of indecipherable medley. I'm excited. I'm terrified, you know. And,
1,000,000%. Yeah.
and you have something to do still. I think that's such a great call to action in life. And that's what songs really do, is they timestamp these moments, whether it's the demos from when you're a kid and it's like, dude, the moment you kick that on, I can smell the garage. Like, there's something so, I don't want to say euphoric. It's just like nostalgia in a way that engages all the senses sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like a hotel shower to be like, I don't even care how long I'm in here. I got to work through some things on my own.
I do the best thinking in the shower. I really do. It's ridiculous. Like, and I take entirely way too hot of showers. But yeah, it's one of those spaces that it's like, you know, you're just fully relaxed. You're in warm water. Like, you're just comfortable. You're not thinking about anything else, but just like, at least for me, you know, about how I can better the day and what, you know, what positive mark I can leave on the day, whether it's, you know, career-wise or family-wise or whatever. There's a lot of, you know, deep thinking for me that goes on in that space.
Hear me out. Imagine like a 10-foot ceiling, like the tile bathroom. Put like a condenser mic in the ceiling, not for a lead vocal, just for like low filter demos, shit like that.
Dog,
you know,
I've seen it.
No.
Yes.
Whose house?
So,
Give me their address,
dude.
Let me in the booth.
Yeah. So, there's a dude. His name is Tyler, and he works for Blue Microphones. And my buddy Jay Milliken, out in Cali, he's got a spot out in West Hollywood, and he lets me crash there whenever I go out there. What up, my boy? Ooh. Jay, what up? He's buddies with Tyler, and when he got his house, we were hanging out, and he was like, yo, you got to meet my buddy Tyler at Blue Microphones. And I was like, all right. So we get in the car and we drive out to this neighborhood, and I can't remember what it was, out towards Beverly Hills. So I knew, you know, it was like, all right, he's like, dude, this house is ridiculous. So we get to this place, and I can't remember. If I Google it, I'm sure I could find it, but I think it's called like the Rock House. I don't know if it's still there. When we got there was a band in there recording a session. Tyler was there. I can't remember. It was a band that I think they had just been signed to like Capitol or Warner or somebody, and they were out there like doing like, you know, some production work or something, or some demos for their new record. And they were in there recording, and the space was amazing. And the house at the time, this was maybe 2012, 13, maybe something like that. But the house at the time was like mind-blowingly high tech. Like, they bought, I don't know if it was the label that bought this house or if it was Blue Microphones that bought this house, but whatever it was, they took the house and like they wanted it to be known as the quote unquote Rock House. And I might be wrong on the name of the house. I don't know if it was called the Rock House exactly, but something house. But they had like, you know, iPads in the walls and microphones. So like, if whatever room you were in and you needed to be creative in said room, you could push a button and record some stuff. So I had to use the bathroom. Where's the bathroom at? So we go up here, and I walk in, and I'm like, oh my, there's literally a mic hanging in the shower, and it was just like, I have to, if you're, you know, after this, like, if it's still out there, and there might be like a YouTube video, it is the wildest house, and it is one of the most beautiful house, like the views of the hills in downtown LA. I mean, it was crazy, crazy house. Beautiful pool out back, you know, all the like fake grass, just the total Cali vibe, you know.
How frustrating is it for the iPhone to come out after that? It's like, nah, dude, I got a mic with me. Like, I can do this wherever. We don't need to put hard wires in the walls and whatnot.
Yeah, it was real deal. It was very impressive spot.
Yeah. So just to hit the promo, so tomorrow we got the monthly music radio artifact,
dog.
which is a nice chance for us all to get together and just talk tunes. You, me, Joe Jordan, Bronson Arroyo.
Yeah.
And you give me the privilege of maybe playing on one of these songs.
Please.
Do you mind if we do Moment of Silence really quick so I can get a little hand on it?
Let's go, dude.
Cool,
yeah,
cool.
hopefully I can remember hopefully I don't forget the words.
Dude, I wouldn't know. I just knew the guitar part.
All these voices, I can't stand the noise, and everybody's talking, I'm not hearing a word. There's a million highways, crashing cars and airplanes, going nowhere fast to start all over again. I'm not lost, I just can't find my way. Don't anybody want a moment of silence? Nothing but a blank page to hide in. A wave that rolls you over as you're ready to drown. Everybody's got to start at nothing. Sometimes nothing is everything. When life gets loud, you gotta turn it down. You need a moment of silence. There are walls around me, but no ground beneath me. Just the thought alone to drive me out of my mind. Gotta clear my head, my God, I can't think straight. I try to catch my breath, but it keeps getting away. I'll go mad, pretending I'm okay. Don't anybody want a moment of silence? Nothing but a blank page to hide in. A wave that rolls you over as you're ready to drown. Everybody's got to start at nothing. Sometimes nothing is everything. When life gets loud, you gotta turn it down. You need a moment of silence. Silence, yeah, you need a moment of silence. Silence.
We go through that faster, right? My bad. Did we go to the top there?
I think so.
I think there was like a lyrical part.
Yeah.
For the,
Oh yeah, I'm not going under. There we go. Yeah, hold on. Well, let's hit that. I'm not going under. I'm not going under. I'm not going under. I'm in over my head. I need a moment of silence. Don't anybody want a moment of silence? Nothing but a blank page to hide in. A wave that rolls you over as you're ready to drown. Everybody's got to start at nothing. Sometimes nothing is everything. When life gets loud, you gotta turn it down. You need a moment of silence. Silence, yeah, you need a moment of silence. Silence, yeah.
So the one question I had on form for that was on that second verse, we come out of that, we go a little bit quicker into the chorus, right?
Yes. So it goes.
I'll start at the top of the second verse.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me figure out the words. There are no.
I was telling someone the other day, it's like, to take these things out of the section.
Oh,
like
dog.
it's a ball downhill. You
Dog.
know, if you ask me for a third line, a second,
Dog,
no chance.
It will take me, dude. I just did this yesterday. I was sitting, wanting to figure out one of the songs that I just wrote, and I am a true write 'em and forget 'em. I have to go back and find them, sit down. There are some people. I just listened to a podcast where Ed Sheeran, Ross Golan, this podcast that I listened to, he asked him, he was like, about the first song that he ever wrote, like the very first song he ever wrote. And he was like, oh yeah. And he played it like on the spot. And Ross was like, holy cow, like that's a true talent. Like that quick of a recall on and then he started naming all these early tunes, and he played every single one. I'm like, good God, am I jealous of that dude? Like, cause I will write something, and for me, I've got to just kind of boot it out of my head. You know what I mean? I got to get rid of it and on to the next thing, and I'm like, all right, I'll listen to that in a week. And if it still hits me in a week and is cool, then I'll keep it and I'll start playing it out. But if it doesn't hit me in a week, then, off to the curb with it, off with your head.
But do you not feel like when you listened to your garage demos as a kid that they came back super quick? Or were you like, what is this?
Yeah. For the most part, yeah. If I hear them back, like I'll know, like, there are notes for me, like when you say, let's jump into it, like when we rehearse as a full band, like, somebody, Nick might be like, all right, let's take it from the bridge or whatever, and start clicking. I'm like, wait a minute, dog. Like, hold up, bro. Hold up. Like, because, when you're playing an instrument, it's a little bit easier to remember, I think, whether it's him knocking it in on the drums or somebody coming in on, bass or guitar or whatever. But for me, I'm like, wait a minute, what was the word? What is, what is my, chord vocally, that I need to figure out? So I always need, because there are so many little licks of notes that are just triggers for me. Where like, oh, I know that I hit this note or I hammer onto this one. Like that sends my mind and my memory into the next,
Yeah. It's a domino effect, and like sometimes like one domino falls by itself. You're like, oh man, this is fucking humiliating. It's like,
yeah.
I had this moment in my live album that I just finished editing where like, truthfully, I dubbed in 2 verses that were just like bits of each other and just nonsense because I let my brain focus too much on it, and then I lost it.
Yeah.
It's like if you told me to go make a layup right now, I'd probably miss it. But if you asked me like, oh, you want to go play some basketball, I'd probably hit a layup. It's
totally.
Like, there's issues with the call and command that it's incredible to watch a guy like Ed Sheeran do that. But I bet there's more recent shit that he's not as attached to, where it's just like he's just checking in, checking out kind of a thing. I'm not going to remember that.
Yeah.
But I am going to remember this.
Yeah.
The
minute you put the pressure on yourself, it's like the wheels fall off. It's been one of those things that I've, as the older that I get, I'm like, all right, like, who fucking cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
It is literally, especially now with the internet stuff or like social media and stuff, like, people don't remember, they can swipe past a photo of you and, you might be like, oh, I didn't like what I was wearing that day, or my hair looks mess. Who gives a shit? Because they are not going to remember. Nobody's going to remember.
It's the summation of the thing, but it's
Yeah.
barely even you.
Exactly.
It gets 48 hours of eyes, and that's done forever.
Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, like when I see artists screw up live, it's so human. It's so human. Like I'm so into it. I love that. I love going to see an artist screw up and then laugh about it and recover and carry on. I'm like, that's the shit right there. That's why I love music, and that's why I love like the human live experience of music. Like show me your flaws.
Yeah.
I all fucking got them. Good Lord knows I do.
And I think it's always better when you acknowledge it too, when you're playful about those things.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
Sometimes when I see the prompters on stage, like I can understand that for folks that have enough songs to facilitate that.
Yeah.
But I'd rather know when you flub, and I'd rather have these. Like, don't be self-deprecating about it. Be playful and honest about it. You know?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But it is so crazy too. Like, when you talk about like, you can't take yourself too seriously. You can't judge these things. You just got to go for it. And when I think about like, Running Down a Dream, especially caught me with how throwaway some of these lyrics feel, but they're better than anything I've ever written. It's like, the sun beat down and I was driving. Like, that's it. That's all you got to say to me. But it's right. It's right on the nose.
Yeah, and it puts that image, that
it was a beautiful
image,
day.
yeah, in your mind. Like, what a master of creating imagery in your head, you know, or like, you know, who hasn't driven down the road, you know, on a beautiful sunny day? Like,
Totally.
I can connect with that. You can, you know.
It's so particular but so vague at the same
Yeah.
time. I was watching that new Billy Joel doc, and it's the same thing. It's like all of his lyrics are so poignant and like I don't know. It's not over fantasizing what the thing is. It's just what the thing is.
Yeah.
You know, I love Just the Way You Are. And I didn't know they hated that song. His wife's like, no, you got to put that out. Because there's a line, I don't want clever conversation. I never want to work that hard. It's like, isn't that love where it's like, finally, someone I don't need to impress, I can just be myself around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still the shit. It's still mentally engaging, but I don't need to be clever.
Exactly.
I can just be you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a beast. Billy Joel.
Billy Joel's the
God,
baddest.
love.
And also, there's not... Like, people love that fuck you New York attitude. Like, Cincinnati needs a little more fuck you in the water, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Less fluoride, more fuck off, you know? we can go back to Moment of Silence after we wrap up the show today, but I'd love to hear some of the other songs that are on the table for tomorrow. Because, like, some of these things are going to be in the moment. Like, well, dude, if you just play a breakup song, then God, I got a really good breakup song, so fuck everything else. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
But when you start digging through the catalog, a little bit of where you've been and where you're at, is there any tunes that you're especially excited to play?
Yeah, you know, it's always so hard. You know, there's plenty of songs that I want to play that I just wrote. So I'm just like, I just don't want to, you know.
Did you turn down the volume on that guitar?
You want me to?
No, never mind. I was looking at the wrong thing.
This is a song called Cardinals that I always liked, that I thought was a vibe. This was on the first EP that I put out when I met some buds here in Cincy, and we did a record. I think this was on it. Me and Nick, Ricky, and Matt, I think were on it. But this is it's called Cardinals, and it's just a little vibe that I wrote when I was living in New York, and our shitty little 300 square foot apartment, you know, and it's like, I kind of like this vibe, you know. You said you loved me, you took me to the fire, we held hands, walked away. You wanted more for much less, and now I'm resting, sleeping alone. Well, I'm not trying to tell you I need love, but I need love, but it's hidden away. And I'm not trying to tell you that I stand alone, but I stand alone every day. You sat in the window smoking your cigarettes, no regrets, no none at all. The cardinals land on broken leaves, and you don't even think of me. I'm working oh so damn hard. Well, I'm not trying to tell you I need love, but I need love, but it's hidden away. And I'm not trying to tell you that I stand alone, but I stand alone every day. Oh, my love is never gone. Oh, it's just hard to find. Oh, my love is never gone. Oh, it's just hard to find. Well, I'm not trying to tell you but I need love, but it's hidden away. And I'm not trying to tell you that I stand alone, but I stand alone every day. No, I'm not trying to tell you I need love, but I need love, but it's hidden away. And I'm not trying to tell you that I stand alone, but I stand alone each and every day.
I love that, dude, but I think that's the hardest I've ever been shook by your voice. Did you warm up today?
I was just gonna say I did not, and I usually don't. I usually don't sing this early, so forgive me for the.
I mean, you can just pop into that. It's insane. Let me turn this reverb off. I'm honestly just shaken by your voice right now. Do you sing with great form? Are you like heavy on like I use my diaphragm, I sing the right way?
I think that I think that I just have. I think I've just messed around so much growing up, like a complete dork in front of the mirror as a kid, that I think that I figured out ways to like maybe protect my voice without knowing it. You know, and you know, you pick up little things from people, you know, like the first like real big tour that I ever did was with Ted Nugent, and Derek St. Holmes was on the tour singing with us. And if you've ever heard Derek St. Holmes freaking sing, dude, you're
That's so Michigan, though, dude.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude.
Did you do the bow and arrow bits at that time?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, actually, in the first run of shows like that I did before that, speaking of Michigan, which I'm kind of not even realizing this now, but it was with Alice Cooper. Before we did the Moment record, yeah, we did like a few shows with him, and then got that. But what I was gonna say is like when you pick up little tidbits, because like that Nugent tour, like it was a lot of days, you know, like it was day shows, with some of them being back to back, and you know, as you know, being on the road, like you just don't sleep for shit. And you know, when you're in a van and trailer, and you know, you're not sleeping luxuriously by any means, if you're sometimes even get a hotel. But I asked Derek, because you know, you start to feel the fatigue, you know, when you're doing it every night, and then talking to people back at the merch, you know, and like trying to connect with everybody, and lack of sleep, you can start to feel it, you know. And when you're really in tune with your voice, you can really tell, and then it becomes a mental thing, which singing to me is so mental. You can totally screw yourself mentally. If you walk off that cliff mentally, you can completely screw yourself. But I asked Derek, because he, dude, every night was just such an animalistic, just singing from his gut, like proper. You could just feel it, and you could tell, you know, and pulling it from that spot. And I asked him, like, what, you know, do you warm up, you know, or anything? I was like, I just talk all day. I just talk. I'm not quiet. Like, I talk right. I just do a lot of talking, and I don't avoid, like, sometimes people will, and I'm guilty of doing this. I've, you know, been out and doing shows, or if you have like a weekend run or whatever, you know, you tend to think, well, I have to sing tonight, and I need to just be quiet for the entire day. Okay, well, now you got to go on stage and sing, but you were quiet like all the way up to that point, and you get on stage and you don't feel like you know you can feel, and then again, jump into your own head and walk off the cliff. And that is the biggest thing that I tell anybody that's ever asked me about singing, is like, you know, is just stay confident. You know, it's rock and roll. At the end of the day, like, you know, like, suck if you do it again. Like, go back to what we were talking about before. Like, it's human. You know. Like, I don't know why I keep saying humid, but it's human.
Because it's nice to sing when it's humid. It's
yeah,
wet.
yeah. It's a human thing, you know. And like, if you're off, like, who cares? Just deliver the vibe. You're delivering the show, you know. But I think that I probably sing right just again, because I was such a dork in front of the mirror growing up and like rapping and like, you know, like figuring out ways to breathe proper, because hip hop like lends itself a lot to, you know, like, you know,
Get it while you can, kind of a thing.
yeah, and like, you know, like you got to breathe at the right times if you want to be up on a certain syllable or whatever. Like if you really put it under a microscope and start looking at like, you know, how is this syllable? Because if you think about it, like, at least this is the way that I think about it. I may be completely wrong, but, you know, like each syllable is a note in and of itself to me in my mind, and the way that I approach it anyway.
Yeah.
It is. So like any syllable is just, you know, it's just a note that you have to hit and get on the wave, you know, get on your board and ride that shit. If it works, it works. If
Yeah.
not,
Like when you opened up on that chorus, like what really astounds me is like the low end that carries, the way that like the shape of the voice doesn't change as you move into parts of your register that some would claim is more difficult unless you've really worked on that thing. Clearly this has been your entire life, but you know, to not rely on parts of the body to make the note, to allow the body to make the note, to give it that kind of freedom, even when you haven't warmed up. It's like, no, it's right there. It's on recall. You know, it's just a ball going downhill. That's the note that happens next. And maybe it is confidence, and maybe talking right all day is an amazing thing to hear. That kind of blows my mind.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, because a lot of people talk wrong, you know, like. When I'm sitting here talking to you, like I'm using my diaphragm, and I can feel the reverberation in my chest, you know, of just speaking to you properly. Not that I do it all the time, you know, sometimes you get lazy, but like, you know, moments like this where you're engaged with somebody, you know, and like talking, you know, like, you know, you can feel it, and you know that you are talking right, and you know, it matters in these moments when you're about to sing.
Explain that a little bit more. So like when you're speaking right, you can feel yourself pushing from the diaphragm. Like, do you feel like an active push in like your abdomen?
Yeah, I'm like when I'm talking to you, like you know, like when you stand, you're like, yo, you've been doing some sit-ups, dog. Like I'm gonna look in the mirror right now,
Yeah.
like, you know, looking like I'm flexing my, you know, am I getting a six-pack or am I getting my? I wish I had that, you know. But like when I'm talking to you right now, I'm standing in a mirror, flexing my stomach because I want to talk right, and it's the same for me when I'm singing, you know, like. If you're gonna hit a high note, you know, like you gotta have that flexed and feel that. And maybe I'm explaining it wrong, but it's just the feeling of being able to just like have it engaged, I guess, and know that it's time to go to work type thing. You know, like you're telling your brain like
people get there differently too. It's like 100%. It's a sensation in your body. You need to know it. But you ever heard of Lucas Graham? He's the 7 years.
Yep.
I watched a video of that dude singing at some festival, and he looks like a bagpipe. He's inflating and deflating himself as it goes. And someone's like, that's what it's supposed to look like. And I'm like, he should put a shirt on, because this shit is graphic. He looks like a Muppet that's being played with at the belly. Like, it's really fucked up.
I gotta see that. Yeah, that's
no, it's an amazing video. So it's always a great thing to admire when somebody feels free in their own voice. But for so many of us, like, you know, I'm gigging 5 or 6 nights a week right now. And there's days where it's there, and there's days where it's not there. And the days where it's not there, it's because yesterday I wasn't doing it right. I wasn't doing myself any services in that regard. So
another big thing that I did learn too is just from being out with people, you know, and not to be like name droppy at all, but we did a couple shows with Stone Temple Pilots, and we did like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 shows with them.
What year?
This would have been 10, 11, I think. We did like Common Ground Festival with them, which was crazy. Getting to fish, I fished with Scott Weiland. It was a trip. Oh, it was crazy. But we did that show with them, and then Robert asked us to be on a show in Louisville at the Palace Theater, which is one of, if you've ever been there before, but holy smokes, one of the coolest rooms I've ever been in. But he had a really great piece of advice for me, and at the time, you know, like you're out on the road and you're like, hey man, you know, like I'm gonna drink. We were totally like that, you know. It was like you're out and you're gonna live the whatever it should look like type thing in your mind. But I was drinking a beer up in the dressing room before we went on, and he came up and was talking to me, and he's like, "You drink beer before you go on?" I was like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "Oh, it's so bad for your voice." And I was like, "Really?" And of course he was right, you know, number one. But then I started to think, like, I am a highly, like, I have, like, I was, you know, I don't know if anybody out there remembers the the show The Wonder Years, but Paul Pfeiffer was like on The Wonder Years. He was literally allergic to everything. I am, kind of like Paul Pfeiffer. Like I just, I will sneeze at many, many things. And like if I walk down, see, my voice is reacting to it right now.
Yeah, just thinking about it.
Yeah, just thinking about it. But if I walk down the aisle at like Kroger in the detergent aisle, my wife will tell you this. Like my voice goes up to like here. And it'll be up in this register, not that high, but like a little, I can't even imitate what it does. But my voice is very it's very susceptible to things like that. And when I stopped drinking any booze before I went on at all, I could tell in a second because up until that point, it was like, oh, I gotta have something, I gotta have a little bit of fun here before we go out. Let's rock and roll, whatever, But now I sing without any of them. I mean, I don't really drink anymore as it is, special occasion, whatever. But you can tell. I can tell.
Yeah.
It is night and day for me. It's easier to hit notes and, easier to remember lyrics, most importantly. But there's a touch of like, whatever it is in beer, the yeast or the whatever that does dry you up, and he nailed it on the head. I'm always appreciative for that type of advice from anybody that's doing it at such a big, serious level that is cool enough to share stuff like that with me. I should have realized that many moons prior to that, but
it comes at moments where you need it, and it's so
Yeah,
cool to have
exactly.
it come to as like it's not like you shouldn't drink beer before. It's like you do this. And you're like, oh, why do I do this? To get to come to the conclusion on your own is the greatest way that any kind of mentor or friend can approach one of those questions.
Yeah.
With you. Like, I haven't been smoking except for the occasional cigar for the last year and a half, 2 years. It's like night and day difference for obvious reasons, but you don't think about it then. You know, you're just like, no, I'm young, I'm free to do the things I want to. Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And reservation is how you get the flavors out of these things, It's
totally. Yeah. And, I'm not trying to come across as like preachy at all because I did do it. And I'm not saying, I know there are plenty of dudes and ladies that can guzzle and destroy still. And
Guzzle's
I'm
the
like,
right
hey,
term.
man, hey, more power to you. Do your thing. For me, just though, in particular, it just was one of those things that it was just, find what works for you and, narrow everything down till you can get as great as humanly possible. And for me, that's my path, I guess. Not for everybody, but.
One of the things I found in my sobriety, which is hilarious and probably wrong, is just like people that want to party with you, that they're amazed that you can still do your job that inebriated. And I'm like, well, when I'm doing this, I don't think about it a lot because I do it every night of the week. That's not the impressive part. The impressive part is the time I put in to be able to do this at any point in time,
Yeah.
Whether I'm about to fall asleep because of the NyQuil or I've been drinking with you all night, these are the same effects. But when that starts to become the show, now I'm missing out because someone else's expectations is that it's more fun to watch me trash doing it than not,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a point where just from an audience perspective where like it works. You're like, oh, that's cool. Look at these guys out here, touring around in a van and trailer and doing their thing, and they're just partying and they're up there and they're still delivering. And then you hit a point where it's like, I wouldn't do that anymore. Like it's just, you could always kind of tell, I was like, I don't know, man, maybe back off from that.
Yeah. Well, it's good to share it too while you're still in the game. Like some people find themselves not able to do the thing without those vices that kind of made it the flavor. Like I kind of had to come to terms with that.
Same. It's hard. It is. It's intimidating to go out and be like, okay, like this is me. This is me, 100%. There's no nothing else out there. Like there's no booze, there's no drinking. Like this is me. And here we go.
There's freedom in that, though. It just takes a while to get used to that freedom too. So as you start to kind of go through the songs for tomorrow night, there's stuff that is around these records that didn't make a record. There's stuff that is you're brand new. Did you consider any of your co-write material that you're starting to write with these folks that you're managing with, or the folks that you're at BMI with?
I did. Yes, man. I did. I just can't remember. It's just like, we've written some really awesome, I've got some great songs that have been co-writes. you know, will I do some of those? Yeah, like if we do this again, you know, like, yeah, I want to for sure. This has just been a particularly crazy past couple of months in my life in particular. So I was like, all right, well, let me dig back into some tunes that, you know, like, that I haven't played that I wrote that I think maybe would work in this setting, you know. I don't think there's anything that I have co-written with anybody that I'm doing tomorrow. I mean, Skid and I and Rune Westberg wrote Moment of Silence together, but I'm trying to think if
So
there's
that's been a
anything
part of
else.
your career for a long time, the co-write feature of it.
I don't. Yeah, I guess. You know, I've gotten more into. I love to write by myself. I love it. It's there's no, you know, pressure of like quickness of like, okay, this has, you know, but you can like, I like to let things marinate, you know, like I like to, you know, like I, I will, you know, write a song. You know, I did this the other day on a song that I'm working on. Like I finished the lyric front to back. I know the hook's great. Like you know, I'm not trying to be cocky, but I think that it's great. Whether anybody else does, cool. You know, like Rick Rubin says, write for yourself. If everybody else likes it, then that's bonus.
Yeah.
I think it's great for me. Lyrically, though, sometimes, you know, I write lyrics, you know, like I'll write verses and they'll be finished in that moment. They're done. But after I listen back to them, I always, you know, in my head, it's like it's the cringe effect for me. If there's any word or moment that makes you feel like just that little, it's got to go, has to go. Because for me, it will bug me the rest of my life. I do not want that on record. Because it's happened before, like, you know, when you're younger and like you're putting stuff out and you are like, oh, that's good enough, whatever, you know, when you're in those good enough days, you know, when you're trying to figure this out, because maybe it's a little bit too much work to go back or whatever, you know, when you're younger, you know, when you're just starting it out. But now I'm like, I'm too, it's too meaningful to me to let anything that makes me go, stay, you know, like you're just not welcome to the party. You got to go type thing, you know? So I will, like the other day, like I wrote lyrics to a song and I rewrote probably 60% of them. You know, it was just like, just didn't fit with where I thought that it should go. Like, you know, where some of the syllables, you know, they didn't hit hard enough, you know, they didn't jump out at me right out of the gate type thing. I like to have words and first syllables kind of hit, you know, and be there. I think it's an important part of songwriting. Could I be wrong? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, that's what works in my head in songs that I like to put out there. Like that's just how it works for me in my head. And again, could I be wrong? I'm not saying I know everything about songwriting. Hell no. But I write it to make myself happy. I write songs to make myself happy, and whether or not they make sense to anybody else, then that's a bonus. I don't like to be too direct, even though sometimes I am. You know, wrote a song called "Angel Eyes" about my daughter that I might play. You know,
Could you run that for us?
Sure. This is one that I had to relearn or reteach myself, I guess. You know. But this is just about, you know, we went, I don't remember where I was at, but I missed something of hers. It was like a dance recital or something, and I don't like doing that. I don't like missing anything that my kids got going on, just because it's so, that time is just so it's just going to be gone. I know before there's already certain aspects of my life with my kids where I'm like, man, oh, what happened, you know? So this is kind of like just one of those moments of, you know, just a little song for her, I guess, and me screwing up type thing. So, This is me trying to remember. We can edit this out, right?
Yeah, sure. Are you someone that writes them down on your phone, or do you leave yourself to suffer through these things? And like,
man, dude, you don't even understand, dog.
because those are the best moments too, where you do have to suffer through it, and you're like, sometimes I wonder like why I don't remember saying. I'm like, maybe the story isn't congruent enough, or maybe it's just on the tip like that, and like. That's
all I need to hear is the first note. I don't even have to, or the first. Sometimes it's just the first letter of the first. Like I'll play this to reference myself here, in my recall, and.
Did I get some? I've had to really work.
Oh, see, I don't even need it. I already got it. Okay. I don't even need the lyrics. It's just that. It's like the tempo. I'm such a tempo dork. Like I'm sorry I didn't be there. No. Sorry. Where we thought. Sorry, I couldn't. Sorry, I don't want to put that. Sorry, I couldn't. I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight. I'm sure that you shine oh so bright. The last thing I want to do is make you sad. I was running through the airport and tripping over bags, doing my best to be a good dad. But life gets in the way when you're busy making other plans. Angel eyes, you got angel eyes, little lady. No disguise, you're so pretty in the light, baby. And I know that our love is sent from up above, crazy. May the beauty of love ride on. Gonna miss the simple times of singing easy rhymes and walking in the sand. You reach up for my hand, and I know one day you're gonna marry away. But until that day comes, I will sit and watch you run and help you through the hard times. Yes, you'll have some, but I know one day you'll damn it. Angel eyes, you got angel eyes, little lady. No disguise, you're so pretty in the light, baby. And I know that our love is sent from up above, crazy. May the beauty of love ride on. Yeah, the beauty of love rides on. Yeah, 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 yeah. Angel eyes, you got angel eyes, little lady. No disguise, you're so pretty in the light, baby. And I know that our love is sent from up above, crazy. May the beauty of love ride on. Yeah, the beauty of love rides on. Yeah, the beauty of love ride on. Yeah, the beauty of love ride on.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. No, dude, that's a great picker. If there's any moments where I'm playing too much on these things, let me know.
No, you sound great, bro. You sound great, man. You sound great. As I knew you would. You know?
What was the tripping over suitcase? Like, was that in the song, or was that something you said before? Talking about.
I was running through the airport and tripping over bags, doing my best to be a good dad.
I like that line a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
That seems like the thing to avoid. But there's also the Dave Grohl's book. He talks about like flying home from Australia to go to a daddy-daughter dance, and how it's just that was what needed to happen at that point in time.
Yeah, totally, dude. There's nothing worse than feeling like you disappointed your kids in any way, shape, or form. It's just one of those things. If you ever have kids, like, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just like, I don't know. I'm not something I'm interested in having in my life is disappointment with them. So
Yeah. Well, the thing that's so, I think I heard Louis C.K. talking about this, and maybe he's not the best example of the kind of father people want to be. He says some shit, but he's like, you think when they're youngest is the time to be absent because they're not going to notice. But then by the time that you come around, they're a teenager. They don't give a shit about hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Dad's not the coolest guy in the world anymore, and you have to accept that. And, me and my wife are getting towards this point, and we're super excited about that chapter. But it's like, you realize once we start, we got maybe 15 good ones before that whole thing's kind of over.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's a person that you just have to hope that you did well enough that they want to be your best friend for the rest of your life.
100%. Nailed it on the head. Yeah, dude. Like, I love hanging out with my kids. I want them to want to kick it with me when they're older. I want them to want to be around me. I think, this doesn't need to turn into a parenting podcast, but it very well could. And I'd be happy to go down that road because I have many opinions on that. But yeah, like, I just want them to want to hang and want to be around and, not think that I'm an annoying dude, but still cares and still is, going to guide them in the right direction and support them in any endeavors that they chase in life. But yeah, it's quick.
Yeah. Well, I think similar to like the vocal tip, it's like, my job is not to tell you yes or no. My job is to ask you why and help you sort through your whys and what's in this world. Like, as your son's gotten into playing, has it been as much an avenue for you to get to know him as it is for him to get to know you? Because finally, it's like you're looking at the thing that Dad's dedicated his life to, and there's so much you could tell somebody in that moment, but you also have a lifetime to do it,
Watching him and my daughter have been two of the biggest, craziest rides and trips of my life. Not that I've ever tripped. I have never. But I'm telling you, like, the way that they pick it up and the way that they consume it from a learning standpoint and how quick has been really, really fun. Like Hudson with playing guitar. I'm like, dude, that's not fair. That is not fair, But then I look and I just see how many hours that he has put into it, and I'm like, it's fair. Like, you put in the work with anything. My daughter is playing violin and singing. Like, I'll hear her playing violin, and I don't need to ask her to go up there and practice. I don't want to be one of those dads. I don't want to be the dude that's like, hey, you got to go practice your instrument. What? Come on, there's, you gotta, music is music. It should be fun, pick it up when you're feeling that it's a vibe, like the minute I start telling them that they have to go practice their instrument is the way to just completely get it hung up in my head and thrown out the back door. But yeah, he can play Master of Puppets, like front to back, the solo of it, like, it is crazy. My buddy Nick, who plays drums with me, like, he's his buddy's got a son who's playing drums, and Nick's been showing him some stuff, and they've been throwing down together. So it's interesting for me to see. We watched him play a few weeks ago over at my house, and it was just weird. Like, hearing like the day one of a couple kids getting together and just throwing it against the wall, but like killing it. I was
How old?
Oh. Hudson's 15.
Perfect.
And his buddy Rock, I think, is
How hard is it not to step in and be like, dude, I know so much shit I could tell you right now, but none of it's pertinent. It's just like, you should figure a lot of this out.
Go and have fun. Yeah. It's like, dude, just like the feeling. I just remember like the first time I ever rehearsed, in my parents' basement, and had my buddies over to see what happened type thing. Is just like this, such a feeling of like, oh my gosh, I am the only person out of billions of people. I'm the only person out of billions of people all over the world. I am the only one that is putting these words and notes together to a song. Like, I'm the only one. There's no, kid in Russia standing in his parents' basement, like singing these exact same words and melodies and to this exact same music. Like, I mean, maybe, but the odds of that, I mean, there's just, you are your own moment in music. And I love that. It's just like, you are there. Nobody else is making these sounds but you and your 4 homies or your 3 homies or your 2, whatever, or your 10, whatever, how many guys are in the band. Like, there's nobody else in the world doing that. And I think that that's like one of the most magical things of music for me, is just that moment of individuality, but within a group, like you're just doing it, and it's so fun and freeing for the soul. I think anybody out there, just get into a band. Even if you say, I hate when people say I can't sing. You can sing. There's somewhere you can tap something. You can tap some emotion from back in the day, and you can find anything to spout off at on the mic and get that out. There's some way, shape, or form. If you truly are passionate about it and you want to go for it, you can figure it out,
Yeah. Well, that brings up these aspects to, like, I think the greatest thing as being a songwriter is, like, to create is the same awesomeness that you feel for the creator. Like, if you have a sense of that kind of spirituality, like, to go from an empty page to something good, bad, dog shit, Grammy Award winning, it's like there's still a moment of contributing.
Yeah.
I've been really thinking about this thing. It's like, you're not called by your heroes to imitate. You're called by your heroes to reciprocate.
Yes.
Inspiration that they poured into your life, you do something with it. And when I think about co-writes, where I kind of struggle is, like, it's hard for me to wear someone else's compromise. Even if I love the compromise in the moment, it wasn't mine necessarily. And I think that's a bit of the ego issue, because sometimes I play someone else's song, and it's more real in that moment than anything else could have been, because that song serves a purpose. But then you look at this incoming world of AI, it's like AI has the same personnel qualities of it's everything you've ever heard accumulated into one. It spits things out. And aside from all the copyright issues and concerns of what that is, there's this moment of just like, out comes the thing. And we all get to see it and be in awe on the fact that this world doesn't turn over and die. This world dies and brings new life continually. It's like, that's the greatest thing you can ever see in your backyard, is the grass go dead and then you plant some new and we're back here.
Yeah.
It's like to have a place in our lives where I forget what happened to a friend recently, but I said, because you do this, no heartache will ever be wasted again. Your bad days have purpose in your life.
Yeah.
And I feel for the folks that don't get that.
Yeah.
Because even on a day where you're like, maybe I wasn't the best parent, or I wasn't the best spouse, or maybe I'm a shitty driver right now and I just rear-ended this guy, but my fiddle's in the back, so I'm going to make something of this until the cops come. It's like, there's so many reasons to say, like, I know exactly what I want from this. Like, can I play a chorus for you really quick?
Please, yeah. Hit it.
This song comes from an aspect of my life that I am not proud of, but I will do something with it. Let's see if I can remember the verse. Too bad to stare, too dark to see, sucking in air of dusty debris. Too loud to think, too quiet to speak, my mouth sewn shut at the seams. I'm looking for diamonds and rock bottom, priceless possessions with the dirt on them. The hardest of lessons, the fall bottom up to the surface with me, shining for all to see, the gems of my misery.
Yeah, dog.
As much as I can remember.
Great work.
But at least in that moment, like, I had this feeling like, oh, I can put everything I hated about that experience to bed, because I have something for it now.
Exactly.
not many people want to eat a shit sandwich, but that shit sandwich sounds great to me.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
It's just-
Tastes good. Sounds great.
exactly.
Did you record that already?
Not yet.
Oh, you should. It's
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know where to go with it just yet.
It's cool.
It goes back to the identity conversation we had before, where I'm like, that's kind of countryish. I don't know that I give a shit, but I think as many artists do, I'm so blessed. This is the only job I've ever had. I've never done anything else, and it's always been full speed ahead.
Yeah.
No questions about that. But there are days where the important stuff feels paralyzing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's recording this track instead of that track, whether it's writing today and getting something or not getting something, whether it's they answer this email and I get the show or I don't get the show. It's so hard to find the markers that say you're on the right path.
Yeah.
This is not a game where you get to drive straight or even have the perception that you are. So I think I'm sitting on a bunch of songs that mean the world to me, and I'm grateful for that. I play them all the time. What a blessing. I get to go out 6 nights a week and put my shit in front of people and pray that by being honest with myself about good and bad things, that I can meet somebody where they needed that song.
Yes.
And I can serve my purpose.
Because that's what it's about. At the end
Exactly.
of the day, man, you know, like you get 5 people that consistently come to your shows and know all the words and give a shit. It's like, awesome. I'm changing somebody's life in a positive way through music. You know, if it's one person,
Yeah.
you know, whoever, it's 100 people, whatever, you are hitting that spot for them in their life, and that's what it's about. You know, like I don't care how many people are coming. If you're gonna hook up one person, you know, I had a guy that wrote me, and his daughter passed away, and he plays this one song, and he sends me it all the time when he's got it on his radio. You know, like he'll send me a screenshot, and I'm like, that's the reason right there why I do it. You know, that guy is kind enough to bring me into such an emotional space in his life. What an honor. What an honor.
Yeah.
You know?
Could you give us a little bit of that song?
It's Cloud of Dust, which is off of the record, which I don't think you know, because I did. My buddy
Okay.
Arnie wrote that guitar part.
Go spin that whole album, because the whole album is produced, polished. It's great.
Yeah, it's very, Skid Mills produced it. And he's a beast, man. He's a beast. He did a great job on that record. Yeah, there's a lot of fun songs on that album that I go back to and re-listen to. I'm like, oh, that was a good tune.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's interesting, too, for folks that don't get to write songs. Like, it's not the day in the studio where the vocals get finished or the last time we do a drum take on it. Those aren't the moments that stand out. It's you in the shower at this hotel, or it's the moment that you're sitting in a restaurant. You're like, I have to go outside and work on this in my head because I am haunted by it.
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to Lionel Richie on Rogan talking about this, and he's like, you're not a songwriter if you can't sit there and hear somebody tapping their fork and think of a song.
Totally.
You know, if that
100%.
kind of thing gets under your skin
Yeah.
enough, like, dude, if I hit my blinker,
I was just going to say the blinker thing for me. I'm like, dude, that is the perfect metronome right there. Just give me that,
dude,
all day.
we should write that song.
Yeah.
All about the blinker, baby.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, as we start to wrap up, is there anything that you want to promote?
Not really. No. No. I just love talking, man. I'm here to hang and
Anytime you
I'm,
want to come, brother. I appreciate
it
every
I
time.
appreciate you, man. It's always good chat with you.
Well, friends, tomorrow we got the monthly Muse at Radio Artifact. Myself, Brent James, Joe Jordan, Bronson Royal. Show starts at 7 o'clock, doors at 6:45. It is free 99, or you can reserve a table if there's any left. So please get your asses out there. Enjoy some of the best tunes and the best people you're going to find on a Wednesday night damn near anywhere. But you're lucky enough that might be within 25 minutes of your home. So
Yeah, Joe and Bronson, man. Come on now. Yeah,
come on now. It's also live streamed on
delivering.
YouTube. If you want to watch it online, you can watch it on YouTube. It'll be there for you. So
Oh, nice.
much love, my friends. Peace in the meantime.